So I just wanted to ask you, what do you already know? And maybe you have some questions before we start.
I have some question.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is, can you explain me about breaking of a block?
Order block?
No, breaking or the block. Breaking or the block.
Breaker block. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So I'm just gonna draw first. So let's imagine we have this stop hunt and a break. Okay. And then it goes down. So what we had initially here was an order block,
Yes.
but then the price went through it. And what the price had to do if it reacted from it, it should have made a new low, a new high. So basically,
Yes.
it failed to do what it had to do. So now we can use it as like it was support, but now it's resistance. So we can just
Yes.
take a
I see.
trade it like this. So now it just becomes a breaker block. So it's the same
Mm,
order block, but it's a failed one.
so
So it
break or the
becomes a
block.
breaker block.
Yes. Yes. I understand. So I would like to ask. So break of a block is when the structure he break. He don't respect our order block, and so we need to wait the price come back of the support area.
Yeah. So we can try to
Mhm.
see on the charts. um, Basically, you could call this a breaker block here. Now, let's see. So an order block initially is the last red candle, red candle before the price explodes to the upside. Okay, so this is
Okay.
the order block, or we can also call it demand zone or order block. Okay, so the red
Is
candle before it
is the same?
explodes, this is where we should take the long. Okay, so exactly
Yes.
the same thing. If it's not respected, we can take a short. So you see here, we have this red candle here. So we can take a trade from it like this. So in this case, the breaker block is very huge. An order block is the last red candle before the expansion, okay, before the move happened. So in this case, these are all big order blocks. This red candle here, okay, this one that took out this liquidity, okay, this candle. And in this case, we would want a big expansion, okay? But in this case, obviously, the move failed. So, but it still gave us this order block here, then it came in here, gave us this order block, right? And then again this order block, and the move went up. And this is a funny situation here. We have a stop hunt. Like this week took out the previous week, right? And it closed below, right, with a wick. So this already tells us we are probably going down. And we have this candle here as the last order block. And so if this move came back down, it should have giving us another move up, like it was here, right? Went up,
Yes.
but in this case, it went down. And here we have our break of structure. So this is the break of structure. And in this case,
Okay.
we can just extend this order block, this zone, this last red candle, and this becomes the breaker block. And so basically, we can just take a trade from here, like this. So this is the breaker block. And we can target the next liquidity here. Sorry, like this. So I'm just gonna draw it again. What we want, basically, in a larger scale, I'm just gonna start here. We had an order block here. So in the bearish move, we are searching for a green candle before it moved down. Okay, and in this case, this is the
Yes.
green candle here. And as you can see, if I extend this, we tapped this green candle,
Okay.
and we actually already kind of broke the structure here. You see, we took this little high as liquidity hunt, okay, like a
Yes.
stop hunt, and it moved down and broke this structure here. And so this whole move was basically just, I don't know, to stall the market, to build some liquidity below here. It basically just built like a trend line here for this move to happen. And so it's not always going to look like this. Usually it will just break, come back up, and go down. This is a weird example, but this is just an example, like the first example I could find. Okay. And so we had this stop hunt and a break of structure, and then we had another stop hunt here and a break of structure. And so for a break of structure, we want to see a body break. Okay. So if it is a body break, it is a break of structure, but if it's a wick, then it is a liquidity sweep, basically a stop hunt. Okay, so this is a stop hunt, but this is a break of structure. So are you following me now?
Yes, yes, I'm
Yeah.
understand.
Okay. And so yeah, in this case, as we are bearish already, we are searching for some zones to take a trade from. We have the tap, we have the break, another break, and we have this breaker block. This last candle here.
Okay.
And we're always targeting the last liquidity here most of the time. Yeah. So do you have any questions about this?
About this now, I'm getting now. So I have any question about the flip.
A flip.
Yes.
So if I'm right, I'm just gonna draw it out. How would we do it? So now, obviously, we were having some downtrend, right? We're having some downtrend.
Yes.
We have this supply zone that gave us the last
Okay.
break of structure. And this usually the price will go up, tap the last supply,
Mhm.
and come down. It will give us a pullback. And then the market will basically decide, are we going down or we are going up? And if we are going up, then this basically this whole thing is your flip zone. Because why it is a flip? It was I would say like it's like uh, supply to demand flip. That's what I call it.
Mhm.
Like this whole thing is like a flip zone because it was a supply, it tapped the supply and now becomes a demand. Basically like it was resistance, but the resistance broke and now it is support. Basically
So
that.
sleepy. And both sleepy is when they change for character, like they change for supply to demand.
Yeah. So this would basically be the change of character here. This is the change of character.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have to be careful because, as I saw, I've talked to you in the previous live call that this has to come from a real zone. And what I call a real zone is like a real OB. Okay, real OB. This is the only time where this pattern is going to work. Everybody is talking about this pattern, but it rarely works. It works only 1% of the time. Only when this is coming from the real OB. Because you see all
A real
these,
order block.
yeah, from a real order block. And what I mean, real is
Okay.
the one that is going to give you the real reversal. Because we have a bearish moves here, right? And there are order
Yes.
blocks. There are order blocks all the way here, right? On the left side,
Okay.
you will see a lot of order blocks, something like this, right? So a lot of people will try to catch all these order blocks,
Okay.
and it will give you some reaction, and on a smaller time frame it may even give you this change of character, and even on the same time frame sometimes it will give you this, something like this. So you have a stop hunt here, you have a change of character, but it will still go down. So this will be like a trap OB or something like that. We can call it a trap, but it's really just a useless OB. And so somewhere there will be the real OB, and this is when the change of character will work. And
Okay.
another thing you can, um, I would say, for a confirmation, you need this liquidity
Yeah.
here. Most of the
Okay.
time, when you have these little change of character or whatever you can say things, these are actually just pullbacks in a down trend. Okay, it's just a normal thing. So you should not trade every every change of character like this, because there will be at least three of these in the downtrend. Usually there will be at least three like this when it actually, before it actually reaches the real OB. And the real OB will probably look like, I don't know, we have, basically we have something looking the same way here. I don't know, whatever. We have real OB here from some previous structure, okay? So let's say we are in an uptrend. We will have a lot of these pullbacks, but until it reaches the real zone, that's when we have to look for this pattern. And usually we will have some sort of a build up here before it actually touches this flip zone or a demand zone. So whenever we have some points of liquidity above your OB,
Yes.
then that is safe to take. Also here, as I drew, we have a little low here. So this is the last liquidity inside of this range here. So our range is from here to here in an uptrend. Okay, so I got lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So just basic structure. Now, usually how you can search for inducement or the last liquidity is very simple. I will just tell you in a second. So do you see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 1, 2, 3 here? So last supply was this one. Okay, so we have another flip zone here. So this move came into this supply, gave a little reaction, but then eventually broke it. So this is also a flip zone, the same thing as this one. You see, we came into this supply, gave a little reaction, but then eventually broke it. So this is also a change of character here.
Okay.
So the same thing as this one.
Okay.
But then,
I see.
yeah. And how you can spot the liquidity or inducement is by having or searching for the first low after the change of character or the break of structure. The first low is your inducement. First pullback after the change of character is inducement. So the same thing here, we have this flip zone. We break, and this first pullback is our inducement. And inducement will always get taken out. In this case, we have two lows here that can happen. It can even be three. Does not matter. It's all an inducement. So we are looking for this low as an inducement to be taken out before we buy. So if we have this inducement and we have fresh OB here, we can take a trade here and target, first of all, this previous high here. This is always our TP1. And why? Because this is another small range. I don't know if you understand about ranges. I will go more in depth some other time about ranges, but a range is basically, this is one range, then from here to here is a range, from here to here, from a low to a high before it broke. Like, I will just draw it out. I will explain it later, but I will just draw it out.
About ranges.
Oh, what?
I never hear about ranges. That's my first time.
First time. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I will explain. But basically, as you can see here, this is kind of looking like a market, right? So we have our TP1 here, the first high, and so the second TP or take profit is here, this high.
Yes.
And so what are we trying to do in this situation? We're trying to enter on the first pullback, right? We see this, we could say like this, 1, 2. So we hit a real OB, then we wait for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 5, how many there is, does not matter. Then we wait for a break. We look for the inducement, and we look to enter on a trade on an OB below. And same was here. This OB was valid only because we had this inducement above. So do you understand that?
Yes, yes.
So I will just draw it out. Whenever we have liquidity below, sitting below, we can take the trade. Same here. If we don't have this, it is very risky to take a trade. Okay? We always want something above or below. So as it is here, so you see we had this huge move down, we came back up, created a new low, and then some people will try to sell from here, right? Because even here we have some liquidity here, some trend line liquidity. So it is kind of, I would say, okay to try to sell because we have liquidity below it. But the problem with this is just one move here. So 1, 2, 3. This is just one move. And I would say the market, the real move was to mitigate this. Because as you see here, we had this candle mitigated, but this candle was never mitigated. We have imbalance here. So the market just wants to come back to that place. And it built this just to have more liquidity to come back and mitigate this one. So this is a very, I would say, very common pattern. So we have a real low B. So that would be this one. We have a high here that creates a low, and then this gets taken out, and we enter the real trade here. So do you see, it's like a W. It's like a W with this leg being lower than the previous. This is very important. We want this high to create a new low. That means ultimately this is our inducement. This high that created a new low is going to be taken out most of the time. This is the inducement.